Good morning. Salam sejahtera. Welcome to Zaid Ibrahim Podcast. Bersama-sama saya today is Datuk Dr Hartini.
Khabar, Datuk.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Lama I tunggu dia datang. Dr Hartini is a very committed, very dedicated activist, in relation to the welfare of children particularly and social issues. Can you please, Hartini, tell me a bit about, or tell the audience a bit about what you do, your organization?
Sure. So I didn't start out as an activist actually. Sebenarnya I was sent as a sukarelawan ke Chowkit a long time ago when I came back from America. And then
When was that?
2001 actually.
Okay.
So dah lama dah balik. But I went to Chowkit because I worked in the Bronx. So I've done work on child protection and child rights and children since I was 18 years old. And so when I came back from America, and I had been away 20 years, so I said, oh yeah, I want to volunteer. So they hantar me to Chowkit and to work in one of the daycare centres that was run by government. Actually, it was a government daycare centre, Pusat Aktiviti Kanak-Kanak, bawah Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat. So I went there as a sukarelawan and saw the issues that were just a little scary, because it wasn't aligned to what the children needed, or there wasn't enough resources, or it was a matter of these children had no surat beranak, so therefore they were not regarded as Malaysians and therefore could not get services. But it was as simple as the PAKK, the Pusat Aktiviti Kanak-Kanak, buka pukul 9 sampai pukul 5. But the children were coming by themselves because most of the parents in Chowkit work from 7 in the evening to 7 in the morning. So there was a disconnect in terms of, addressing just physically the rights of and the safety of children. So when I went there as a sukarelawan, it was simple. It's like, where's the makanan? Where's the snacks, right? Where your makanan ringan? There was nothing. So, you have this juxtaposition of having like peti sejuk, a fridge di derma oleh, then you buka the peti sejuk and there's nothing inside. So I just thought, what's going on, right? So I went back to the chairman of Yayasan Salam Malaysia, which was the sukarelawan organization that I was volunteering with, and I said, you need to see this. He said, Tini, don't be dramatic. I said, I am not being dramatic. You need to see this. So he came, Tan Sri Razali, Ismail, and he came with me. He said, I'm only giving you half an hour. He stayed for 2.5 hours because he was so shocked at how little the children had. So he said, okay, Tini, you so pandai, what are we going to do, right? So I said, we need to get food. We need to talk to the minister, who was then Datuk Sharizat and who's now Tan Sri Sharizat, and to address these issues and to see if we could collaborate between Yayasan Salam Malaysia dengan Jabatan Kebajikan Masyarakat under KPWKM, Kementerian Wanita, to see if we could work on something where it could be a private-public partnership with the government, with NGOs to help. So that's how it started, as a program.
How many children are you helping now? Under Chowkit?
So every day sekarang we have about 121 who come for different things. So 50% of our children are Malaysian children yang B40 yang live around Kampung Baru and very poor. And then half of them are just children of refugees, so stateless migrant children yang ayah bapa dia, ibu bapa dia kerja in the area. The children have no place to go because non-Malaysian children can't go to school and they're poor. So they come and they get free education, free food, etc. So we have about 121 who come every day for food, for schooling, just simple homeschooling, for games, for other programs. But our big work is case management on social issues. So we have about 2,000 cases a year. A lot.
Okay.
A lot. Not just in Chowkit, but in the
now I'm my own assessment, is that our government, not just this government, including the previous one and the previous one, we are so much preoccupied with a lot of big issues, religious issues, race issues, whatever. Actually, children is never a priority to me, the way I look at it.
There was never
The children, the plight of children is never a priority of this government. And am I correct?
Yes.
Do you agree with me?
Yes.
Can you explain?
You know, it is the weirdest. It is so wrong. Children bawah 18 tahun make up about 1/3 of the population, right? So our population now is 33.4, 34.3, something like that.
Yeah.
1/3 are under 18 years old. The ones that we should be taking care of, right? We talk about climate change. We talk about
Sustainability.
investing, sustainability, right? All the right words.
Yeah.
We talk about investing in the future, right? That we must protect the environment.
Yeah.
But the most precious for me, the most precious asset are our children.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Because they are what the world is going to inherit come 10 years, 15 years. And the way we treat them is so, it's common sense here. I'm not smarter. I'm not anything. I just think it's common decency and common values to want to protect the most precious of gifts from God, from Allah, the most precious of gifts, that investment, which besides the climate and the environment world, is children.
Yeah.
And kami tak jaga ya. Kami tak jaga hak asasi, kami tak jaga. We just don't.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why, because they don't vote.
Yeah.
But they will vote.
Yeah.
How are you shaping their values? How are you shaping what they believe in and who they are?
You know,
Tak ada.
the two events that, I do social work, as you know, but
Yes.
mainly with disabled
Yes.
children and people.
Which
in
makes up
Kelantan.
about 6% of the population.
Yeah, I do that for many, many years.
Yeah.
But the two events that really shook me, really two events. One was when I went to Sabah and I looked at those children running around on this bajau laut or whatever you call it. And you could see that they don't have enough food. They don't go to school.
No.
And I don't know what to do. And I see in the newspapers, I read about, they are stateless, they are not Malaysians, they are not this, they are not. But nobody wants to solve the problem, Paul, you know. Surely, how many people are there? It cannot be, it cannot overwhelm the country, even if we were to absorb them and forget about the formalities and just make them citizens of this country. They have lived here, or rather their parents, for hundreds of years. And I cannot believe that in Sabah, not just the Bajau, I'm talking about a lot of others, orang asal, they have no papers. Why can't you just forget about papers? Get help. Get help. And the other thing that shook my heart really, man, was I remember reading about this Myanmar father in KL who took the son and the daughter, and killed and jumped from the somewhere and killed the children because he couldn't tahan supporting the children. Now, what sort of country are we in that we allow these things to happen?
I actually met the one surviving child was 5. So I met the wife and the mother.
It's painful.
And he loves Spider-Man, so I got him a Spider-Man doll. I'm going to cry, so. Refugees is a separate issue.
Yes.
Because it's under child rights and child protection, and really we have so much as a country, but refugees aside, let's talk about statelessness, because statelessness is memang lahir di Malaysia, akan hidup di Malaysia dan akan mati di Malaysia. They didn't come from any other country. So we cannot mix them up with the refugees. They're separate, right? So they're Malaysians. 3rd, 4th, 5th generation Malaysian, orang asal, as you correctly pointed out. It's a emotional subject for me because, me and my friends who are activists just we couldn't stop the regressive amendments last week in Parliament. So the bill,
the celebration. I saw the celebration of our ministers, the lady ministers. I don't know what they were celebrating actually.
So correctly, the women's equal access to citizenship for their children born abroad, that had to happen. But what was insidious and really wrong was pushing the other
Yes.
horrible amendments, right? Which affects orang asli and orang asal.
Yes.
In
No,
Sabah.
but
And it was
the way I look at the constitutional amendment, I don't want to go into detail.
Yeah.
But basically, it is this government's obsession of determining who are citizens of this country
Yeah, it's really about
by some method which is impossible, to be fair, because there are no papers. There's no proof.
Yeah.
You just have to take a very robust view policy and help these people.
But it's not coming from a human rights
Yeah.
perspective. So you're talking about
Yeah.
coming from a human rights and compassionate.
They're not. That's what I'm saying. But shouldn't leaders have compassion? I mean, this is an Islamic government, for God's
Politics.
sake.
Islam actually has no part in this really well as well, sir. Because if you look at rights, child rights, and you look at the scholarly papers on Islamic law, it actually is in line. Yeah.
Yes.
But we don't practice. So we don't practice being compassionate to refugees because
Yeah.
they're others.
Oh,
And we are not compassionate to statelessness because they're others.
yeah.
So this whole othering thing is about politics. And politics, sir, play a bigger game
Yeah, of course.
than rights.
You know, when I saw that majority of parliamentarians,
Oh my goodness.
in fact, the whole lot of them, except one,
Yeah, it was very, very brave.
and except one, were gleefully supporting this constitutional amendment as if it was a great victory. And I said, my goodness, if this is how we measure greatness and success, you know, there are so many, perhaps 100,000 of these children will not be will have no future still.
No.
Because they still can't prove their parents got
No.
papers, their parents got married,
No.
their parents are PR, they can't prove it. And so, and if they can't prove it, they will be stateless. And then when their children will be stateless. So this is a generational thing.
Intergenerational, yes.
And our parliamentarians don't see that. Except Syed Saddiq, I want to say this, I'm very proud of you. Okay,
I'm very proud of
I know you are in a mess because of I don't know what you did, but you are one parliamentarian.
Very
I'm very
principled.
proud because you have guts
Yeah.
and you have feelings about what is right.
Yeah.
So Syed Saddiq, kudos. but seriously, I have my similar experience in the time because you see people in Kelantan. Sometimes the parents or either the father will cross the border, get married in Thailand,
Yeah.
and vice versa. And they don't have proper marriage
Yeah.
documents.
So
The children born in Kelantan, I met one of them. He is now 40 years old. He is stateless.
yeah.
He couldn't prove.
Yeah.
He couldn't prove that his father and mother were married with a proper birth. That he couldn't prove
It's
anything.
not recognized in Malaysia. Therefore, the anak luar nikah. So
Anak luar nikah, whatever.
luar nikah anak tak setaraf.
Anak setara. See, they are so formal in their approach to dealing with human issues. They are so formal and so bizarre, in my view. You know, it's incredible.
I have watched young people, right, 18, 19, 20, yang memang orphans, right? They don't know who their parents are. They're left in government homes, in NGO homes, or their father is Malaysian, like the story you're saying, and then the mother dies or they remarry and they leave the child behind. Yeah, when he's 16, I have one case, and you see him having to go to. It's so hard for me. JPN, right, by himself. He's a young kid, 18, 19, 20, to get the application form under 19B, right, which is one of the amendments that they push through, to get the application form to fill in, yeah, to apply for citizenship by himself because he has nobody.
Nobody to help him.
Nobody. That image will always haunt me because I've seen enough, and they're mostly boys, and they cannot even get the application form. So I have to act as a sponsor, which is why I was there, right? Because I wait until this thing and they say no, and then I step up. Or I have to bring a lawyer to insist on the right of this young man to apply to get the form, not even to fill in, to get the form. I have to bring a lawyer. How many children out there have to do it by themselves? This one they happen to call girls, but mostly boys. My heart breaks. They're orphans. They have nobody. They have no family. They have no country. They have no identity. They cannot work.
Yeah, of
Their
course.
whole future.
The whole future.
Their whole future. I have one kid who's 20. Parents, don't know, brought up by the neighbors because the parents left and never came back. He was a baby, yeah. He was a month old. The neighbors brought him up. He was 16, and then he had a fight with the neighbors, and he left the house. COVID happened. He couldn't go back, right? Because lockdown. This is during lockdown. So you know where he stayed for a year and a half? Masjid, Kampung Baru. Masjid. Makan tak tentu, whatever it is. When he came out of lockdown to look for the neighbors that he had fought with, they had moved, right? Because so many people lost their job.
Yes.
He is stuck. He is stuck.
And this is what I'm saying, you know, we don't have like enough care for children in this country. I mean, there's nobody really responsible. I mean, they are partly responsible, you know, and there is this kebajikan. There is this kebajikan. I don't know what kebajikan does with the very little money they have, you know. Kebajikan in other countries receive a lot more money than our kebajikan. You know, for example, social services, social welfare, safety nets.
Our social workers bill just got postponed it's 14 years in the making. Just announced yesterday by the minister that our social workers bill has been postponed.
If we cannot even draft a social workers bill, how are we going to have social workers? That means we don't care about social workers.
That means we don't care about children.
We don't care about children.
We don't care about anyone.
But why is it that it takes so long to do a social worker? Why do you think they keep postponing?
Well, the citizenship amendment bill was done in a year. The Mufti bill is being done now, right?
Oh, Mufti bill, very urgent.
Social workers bill, 14 years later. So I just sit here
because the Muftis are more important than the social workers.
Yeah. You know, but then again, having to be fair, YB Nancy Shukri announced, you know, with YB Zaid Hamidi yesterday that this is OneStop
Centre.
Yeah.
Pusat Social.
Yeah.
Pusat Social,
Yeah,
which has about 40 policies, which will transcend all ministries.
Yeah.
I like the announcement, but like everything else in this government, they have a lot of announcements. But while I'm waiting from the minister, Nancy, which I like as well, she's a very fine lady, a bit more detail.
Well, how are they going to
because
all these
how do you implement the policies? A one-stop centre, we don't have people.
I don't know.
Or if you have the same kind of fellows you have now, they are accustomed to doing certain things in a certain way. They don't go all out to help.
Well, you know,
they probably say this is not within my department, or I don't know.
Yes, that too.
That's what will happen. Oh, they don't have papers. You see, you need a new ministry, to be honest. You don't need a one-stop centre. You need a minister for children.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And this minister of children must override other bureaucrats in the government.
I agree.
That is the only way to do it.
We have a children's commissioner right now.
Oh, children commissioner tak boleh, tak cukup.
Yes,
Malaysia,
I agree.
Malaysia ni banyak commissioner.
I agree.
dia Malaysia ni, you know lah. I don't want to talk politics lah, but dia banyak structure, tapi banyak structure tak berkesan, tak ada power, you know. So I hope lah, you know, our Madani government give priority to children, lah, you know, that they can solve all this problem. One-stop centre. Tell the other ministers to forget about that rule. There must be a macam like in some countries they have what we call minister that is more senior than other ministers.
Prime Minister. I don't know.
No, in Malaysia there's only one, which is the Prime Minister. But I think we should have a few more. We should have a few more lead ministers, senior ministers who can override, who can adjust certain things. Otherwise it doesn't work. You know, this citizenship, stateless children without support, kebajikan that has got no money. Can you imagine?
Single mothers.
Single mothers.
Single mothers with so many children, not enough anything.
No, yeah, and then if you look at, I don't want to go into all this, but for example, preschool. We were talking about preschool.
Early childhood. Yeah.
No, preschool. sekolah apa taska ke
Tadika
apa
dan taska.
tadika or PAS has got pasti or whatever. Now, how are they funded? I don't know, because it's not cheap to send children to this school.
No.
If the parents cannot send the children to the school, how are they going to work?
They cannot.
So,
Yeah.
if it costs
They
money,
cannot. Yeah.
I don't know, budget yang kerajaan bagi tu besar, tapi I don't know whether it's enough to cover all this.
We don't have. Memang from before COVID pun tadika dengan taska memang tak cukup. So, you have kemas under the government initiatives and you have government tadika dengan taska. But memang tak cukup. And then you have the private ones. So we were calculating yesterday with some of the early childhood education experts. I'm not one of them. But I was on the National Recovery Council looking at, what happened during the pandemic and stuff. And children didn't have school, didn't early childhood education. I worry because we were already tak cukup, and then now after COVID, they never reopened.
Yeah.
So we're short. And then, then you come out in the newspaper, Standard 1 children cannot read and write. I'm like, yeah, no wonder, because they weren't in school for 4 years.
In fact, that is what happened now. Mujola, we have a son, Yayasan Hasana, and a few other
Yes.
people we are working on.
Yes.
In Kelantan,
Yes.
where we get them.
They're good, yes.
We get them to get the children
Yeah.
a bit of booster lah
Yeah.
program, makan
Yeah.
sikit,
For
better
children
food,
especially, yes.
better food, so that they can learn,
Yeah.
they can read. Because you see, like you yourself said, the effect of COVID ni, sometimes our minister ingat benda tu dah selesai.
Tak ada. Tak
So the
selesai
damage done in the
langsung.
COVID years are multi-layered. Dia bukan saja soal kerja, soal education, soal
Health.
malnutrition, soal everything.
Yes.
And you cannot solve this one by one.
No.
You got to solve it together.
Yes.
So I don't know. I don't know. We don't seem to. We seem to be like. I want to come back to that. We are so preoccupied with big agenda.
But this is the biggest agenda.
Yeah, the biggest agenda is about livelihood.
If we say, and this is my argument, Kan, if we say that education is the way out of poverty, and the kids are not getting education,
Yeah.
nor health, thing, how is they supposed to get out of poverty?
Yeah.
We're not addressing the root causes. And again, we're putting band-aids on dengan intervention programs that really, you're flushing money down the toilet.
Yeah. I mean, we have so many sort of fancy projects, I call it. Yeah? Huh? Fancy project. Huh? We're going to have, I think the Prime Minister is now, we're going to spend a couple of $30 million or whatever to make sure
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, the GSBH kids.
the children who are Akidah, distorted Akidah,
Yeah,
how they're going to
25
bring
million.
back into the right path. So we're going to spend 30 million on that. Maybe a few hundred people involved. I don't know. Okay, you must help them. But surely we are talking about hundreds of thousands of children whose problem is not Akidah, whose problem is food.
Yeah.
Whose problem is more serious, I think. Whose problem is not just care, proper care.
Yeah.
It's education, it's malnutrition, it's disease, health. So if you're going to spend 225 million on some children from this global Ikhwan, 400 or 500 of them,
616.
well, 600, whatever. Okay, can I suggest the Prime Minister put 250 million for these children, these people who have got equally serious problem, not Akidah problem, but equally serious. So we got to get our priorities right,
Yes.
don't you think?
Yes.
But I'm so proud of you, Hartini. No. I wish there are a lot more people that come out. We need to sort this out. Our country is dysfunctional in many ways, in the values that we hold. In the values that we hold as a nation. We just need more people to come forward and do things for the disadvantaged, for the poor, for the deprived, for the children, for
It's
the
not-
stateless,
Yeah. It's
for
not
the orang asli. And all we are concerned at the moment is Akidah, We're going to spend a lot of money, And I know I'm not making fun of Akidah. I think we should get the right Akidah. But a lot of people probably don't know they have the
people
wrong.
can't Akidah alone, right? They have
Yes.
and they have to go to school.
They have to go to school. They have to have the right Akidah. Because if you don't have all the basics, your Akidah will go off as well. It's a matter of time. If you have no school, if you have no parents, no church, no support,
Yeah.
no this, your akidah may be distorted after a while. So
Yeah.
let's get it right, you know. And
Yeah. Yeah.
no, the other thing that I want to ask you Tini, is this, you know. There are many NGOs like yourself, like they're doing separate things.
Yeah.
But is there a coordinating body
So we're looking at issues,
to make it more
persistence.
effective?
Yeah.
Like,
So collaboration wise,
Yeah.
so we have one that was doing work with refugees. There's one that's looking at food. Now there's one, I'm starting one as well for children on health. But people are doing different things. So it's trying to bring the collective together to move as a movement, so that we all have, the same shared values, principles and stuff. We're trying, but a lot of it is resources. But when you see something like the Social Workers Bill not being passed, then we like, because we're not the gazetted child protectors.
Yeah.
We are NGOs, right? We're supposed to be complementing what the government is doing. So when you don't prioritize what is important, then how are we supposed to move?
how supposed to move? Yeah, effectively. Yeah.
Yeah, so we have to try to be creative, and we have to try to think of different ways, and we try to engage with the government. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I don't know. I think my upset personally, just given what's been happening the last few weeks, the last few months, is my disillusionment and disenchantment with people in decision-making positions, policymakers, implementers, gazetted people who are bequeathed or who have said and promised that they would help the poor and the most vulnerable, didn't protect the poor and the most vulnerable because there are bigger agendas and other priorities. That hurt me the most.
Yeah, I'm upset too. They're coming after smokers. I can't smoke now.
Okay, that one I cannot help you.
Yeah, you can't help me, but give me a break, you know. I mean, they're going to fine me like $200, $300, you know.
Okay, that one cannot go to the children.
Yeah, that can go to the children, but I'm sure it's not going to the children either.
I don't know.
But never mind. That's a side, you know. But there must be more serious issues than smokers, surely. No, never mind. I know you don't agree.
No. I'm just saying, but I just think we have to reprioritize what's important.
Yeah.
And if we're talking about the state of our country and the future
But
of our country, then we need to invest.
okay, my next question to you is this. Why did I raise this issue of smoking? My wife won't like it. Okay, never mind. The coordinating body, the social worker. What about how are you satisfied with the big corporations, the rich organizations? Are they supporting this sort of work,
I think, to be
or
fair,
is it some only?
to be fair, the pool of resources which make up the corporate bodies, the GLCs, etc., are very small, compared to what the social issues are.
Yeah.
That's one. And the fact that there is no governing, coordinating body that actually can govern and coordinate the resources and pull the resources together to be able to address social issues as a whole, as an ecosystem, tak ada. So everybody's doing their own thing, right? Then you have, you can have all the words like ESG, DEI, all these things, right? But the truth of the matter is we need to communicate. There is no communication between the different sectors, not enough.
Not enough.
And it's all intervention. It's always after the fact, after something happens, happens when you get these big stats, everybody jumps in, right? But the truth of the matter is the most sustainable way of working and solving an issue is prevention work, not intervention, not after the fact. We're always doing after the fact. No prevention work. So I think there needs to be more advocacy. There needs to be more communication. There's no communication. And everybody has to start working in silos. It's not about your personal agenda anymore, can?
Yeah.
You can still make a profit and still help, right?
Yeah.
But I think we need to coordinate better. We're not doing that very well. So the resources I get, yes, I get from some of the big corporations who have been with us and have been amazing for years. But most of it because they're competing with everybody else and do everything.
But okay, I just want to ask you now: do you think the lack of coordination and lack of mutual stronger support, has it got to do with politics as well?
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
Okay. I think that's I thought also because
The national agenda, there's nothing to do with best interests.
yes, because kebajikan, the welfare of the people, as a whole. It's a national thing.
It's a national
It's
thing.
a religious thing. It is human thing. It should cut across every different group.
Yeah.
We should be united on this front.
We shouldn't, as child rights advocates, have to compete with the economy, because child rights is part of the economy.
Part of the economy. Yeah. I suspect that it's partly because of the priorities given to political issues.
Or the non-understanding investing in.
And they don't understand, you're right, the long-term effect of this is where, one good thing about what the new Indonesian president, which I like.
I don't know.
I don't know Prabowo, but the first thing he did was that he started giving meals. Because not all of Indonesia, but I think it started in some, like 10,000 schools or whatever. He selected.
We have 10,000 schools in Malaysia.
Yeah. He said, you're going to have meals. Of course, there are a lot of critics. People say, I'm sure we're going to balance the budget. We're going to make that count. But Prabowo is doing something good, because in Indonesia, the malnutrition and lack of good food is really stunting the growth of poor Indonesia.
But, sir, the meals, we have hot meals in school too for the 10,000 primary and secondary school kids. We have also free meals.
We have that.
But we don't have Taska and Tadika. So guess what?
Yeah.
The under 7 years old aren't getting those free meals.
So the most vulnerable are not getting that.
Because there's not enough Tadika and Taska.
Yeah, or because politics also lah. Maybe.
They're not gathered. They don't seem to understand that, you're saying hot meals to all the children. Yeah, primary and secondary, bawah 7 tahun macam mana?
Yeah, secondary tu dekat nak mengundi lah. So
you said it, I didn't, but yes, I'm sure.
No, I'm a bit more cynical than you. But you're right. We are not giving the youngest kid.
The most vulnerable.
Something
happens bawah 5 tahun, yeah?
They are the one who needs milk,
But Malaysia is the country in Southeast Asia that has the highest number of children who are malnourished, that we are triple burdened as a country.
Yeah.
So we have stunting, we have obesity, and we have anemia.
Yeah.
Not only do we have triple burden, not double burden, triple burden, plus we have pregnant mothers now who are anemic. It's a huge issue in malnutrition.
It's a huge issue. So, and that's why I keep saying that if Indonesia, with so many 300 million people, they're there to start something for the poor students, we should be much more aggressive.
Yes.
We should be more robust in feeding our young children, Taska children, Pasti children. We should give them food so that they become better students later on.
Yes.
They're better equipped to be a good citizen, But because we don't have Minister of Children.
We didn't think about it. Like, bagi makan, percuma. Ya, 7 tahun ke atas, 7 tahun ke bawah.
And not only that, I think a lot of our dekat budget they start thinking, I suppose. There's no time, There should be more long-term planners for this country, I think. There should be more decision makers involved in planning for the long term, not the short term. Anyway, I think we have covered most of the things for this session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope you are all right with that. Is there anything you want to add on? One more thing?
No, I'm glad you're doing this.
Oh.
I'm glad you asked.
Yeah.
Right on the heels of last week.
No, because I have this studio, second-hand studio, and I like to invite people such as yourself who can make some difference, I hope, And
we'll see.
Yes. And so, anyway, thank you again.
Terima kasih, Datuk.
So,
thank you again.
Yeah, I hope we'll do another chat maybe later.
Yes.
When we have the social workers bill.
That would be amazing.
That would be.
Yeah.
Let's not wait for too long.
I don't want another 14 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.